Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Peachy Comeback. My name's Abby. We talk about all things breast cancer. I'm a breast cancer survivor. I was diagnosed at the age of 32, and the whole goal of this whole conversation we are having is to be an advocate and a champion for the incredible women and families that are going through this diagnosis every single day. So, for today, I just wanted to talk through my diagnosis, like how it all happened. So I was 32 years old. I had a lump come up on my breast, waited entirely too long to get it examined or checked out. When the time came around for my annual visit with my gynecologist, go through the exam, and I'm like, hey, got this situation up here. And she's like, yeah, definitely got something. It's probably nothing given your age, your history, everything else. She was like, but let's get it checked out just to be extra cautious. So got a mammogram scheduled for a few months after that date. Thought literally nothing of it, so much so that I told no one except for my husband. Obviously, he knew what was going on, but like it didn't never occur to me to just like loop. It's my golden doodle. It's coughing up a hairball. Never occurred to me to do anything about it as far as like looping people in or saying, hey, I'm going in for this diagnostic, blah, blah, blah. So I go to the mammogram on a Friday afternoon. Thankfully, my husband drove me because we were going to go have dinner after the exam. Like, this is how high on the radar it was for me. And I walk in and I start the exam, and it's just like going longer than it should. There's like a lot of repositioning, a lot of smushing, a lot of like, oh, one more shot at this. And like you just, after 30 minutes standing there with that, you start to think, yeah, this is not okay. So from there, I go to a dark exam room and say the radiologist will be with you in a minute. And so now I've been there for about an hour. Radiologist comes in, hooks me up to an ultrasound, starts doing her thing, and she's taking pictures, all the things. She degloves, takes the wand off, flips the lights on, and says, yeah, so you have breast cancer. And I wasn't even like sitting up yet. I wasn't it chokes Murphy up to this day. Chokes he can't stand it. And it was the most traumatic moment of my life. I got dizzy, I got sick. They had to turn the lights off. I was heaving, it was horrible. And then literally from there, she's like, okay, well, you can just go back to the exam, go back to the changing room and get dressed, and I'll meet you in the waiting room or whatever it was. So somewhere in between, and it kind of becomes blurry, somewhere in between that, I called a family member. I am panic stricken. I have just been told I have breast cancer. Of course, that person is flying off the radar. And their one piece of advice to me was, do not leave that facility without your films, which I would pass on to anybody. If you're in a situation like that, like, don't leave without saying, I'd like a copy of my films, please. Managed to text my husband. I said, please come in. And there we sat in the room getting our discs. The facility actually tried to push us off and come back and get our films in like 5 to 7 business days. Thankfully, my husband, who had more wherewithal than I did at the time, said, no, we're not leaving here until we get our disc. So I sat in what we now like to think of as like a vibration. I was so scared. I was so shaken. I just I was shaking. I was literally shaking with fear and anxiety and all the things that come with a diagnosis like that. So anyway, so we do the things. We stand our ground. We get our disc. And we go on our merry way. And it was a horrific day on my Richter scale of life so far. So as tragic and awful as that sounds, you're going to be fine. But I would just say, if anybody has a change, you have an appointment coming up, you're going to do the thing. Loop your tribe in and loop your people in. You're not doing any favors to not tell the people that care the most about you in your life of what you're going through. I think for me, I said, well, I just don't want them to worry. I don't want to cause undue stress. And that's just bullcrap, to be quite honest. Like, the people in your life really want to know what's going on. And looking back, had I done that, it would have been so much easier to have people waiting on the other end of the phone to know what you were going through to help support you, rather than to have to be in the position to try to process the diagnosis and notify family, parents, siblings, all of the things. So you just gotta like tell somebody. Um, and like, as a system, we just need to work on like how we deliver the messaging. I really don't feel like first year radiologists should be allowed to tell people that they have breast cancer, but that's a personal opinion. You may have your own. So yeah, that's just kind of like my journey. If you have a similar experience, I would love to hear about it. If you can like one up me, even better. Like, we can talk about it. But yeah, just wanted to share what that was like, and hopefully it will, encourage or inspire somebody that's going through a similar situation. So thanks for listening. This is a Peachy Comeback. I'm happy to have this conversation with you.
And be your own advocate. Say it this
And
episode.
and be your own advocate.
And be your own advocate.
And be your own advocate.
Remember, be your own advocate.